Did the mighty Roman Empire truly fall, or did it simply pivot? For centuries, historians have debated the demise of one of humanity's most enduring civilizations, often painting a picture of dramatic collapse. But what if that narrative is overly simplistic, a mere brushstroke on a canvas far more complex, and perhaps far more continuous than we dare to imagine? We are poised to reconsider a pivotal moment in history, a moment often misunderstood. Traditional accounts often focus on barbarian invasions, economic woes, and political instability as the nails in Rome's colossal coffin. Yet for every invasion there was often a complex negotiation, for every crisis a resilient adaptation. The empire, much like a well-worn leather satchel, absorbed countless blows, patching itself up with the unexpected thread of innovation and the occasional liberal application of olive oil. We must look beyond the obvious, the surface-level disruptions, to understand the deeper currents. This is not merely an academic exercise, it's a profound journey into the very DNA of our civilization. Understanding Rome's evolution, rather than its abrupt termination, illuminates the hidden currents that shaped our laws, our governance, and even our collective subconscious. Our guide on this intellectual expedition is Martha Brandt, an aspiring freelance historical archivist, whose keen insights will help us navigate the murky waters of historical interpretation. Her dedication to factual accuracy is unparalleled. Join us as we peel back the layers of myth and misconception to reveal a more nuanced, and dare we say, a more violent truth about Rome's protracted transformation. From its strategic military adjustments to its profound philosophical shifts, every ripple in the Roman pond sent echoes far beyond its shores. Prepare to challenge everything you thought you knew about the Roman past and its continuous, if sometimes veiled, presence in our modern world. The notion of a singular, cataclysmic fall often overshadows the intricate, almost biological process of societal metamorphosis. Rome did not merely cease to exist, it restructured itself, like a highly specialized amoeba adapting to a new petri dish, shedding old membranes and developing new pseudopods for survival. What we call the fall was perhaps merely a strategic, albeit somewhat messy, rebranding effort, an attempt to stay relevant in a changing world. To understand this transformation, we must first accept that the Roman citizen's daily experience was not one of constant, epic battles, but often of mundane bureaucratic shifts. Imagine a meticulous census taker, Martha Brandt, meticulously updating ledgers with new classifications, like post-imperial citizen or temporarily unromanized. It was a subtle yet profound administrative undertaking, requiring new forms and a lot of ink, fundamentally altering identities. The very concept of Romanness became fluid, much like a poorly maintained water feature in an abandoned atrium. People adapted, adopting new customs, new allegiances, sometimes even new footwear. One day you might be pledging allegiance to an emperor. The next, you're haggling for a bushel of genetically modified turnips with a chieftain whose ancestry includes a prominent, albeit now retired, imperial legionnaire. It was a time of great sartorial confusion and identity crises. This cultural osmosis wasn't always peaceful. Consider the violent clashes over proper etiquette for communal bathing, for example. Was it acceptable to hum show tunes while exfoliating? Should one share their scented oils or keep them strictly personal? These seemingly trivial disagreements, elevated to matters of state, often escalated into full-blown skirmishes, leading to the unfortunate splintering of public bathhouses into smaller, less aromatic, and decidedly more private facilities. Public hygiene was a bone of contention. Martha Brandt suggests that the true fall was less about barbarian hooves thundering at the gates, and more about the gradual, imperceptible erosion of the empire's collective attention span. Citizens, increasingly distracted by innovative new forms of entertainment, such as synchronized marmot racing and competitive pottery smashing, simply stopped paying attention to imperial decrees. The sheer volume of parchment required to announce these new diversions was staggering, consuming vast resources and attention. Indeed, the administrative burden became legendary. Every new trade agreement, every territorial adjustment, every decree on fermented cabbage regulations required a mountain of paperwork. Scribes worked tirelessly, their quills scratching until their fingers cramped, often fueled by an experimental blend of juniper berries and old parchment clippings. It was an era of unprecedented scribble burnout, leading to a noticeable decline in legible cursive and an alarming rise in interpretive dance as a form of record keeping. The bureaucratic maze was becoming a bureaucratic ballet. Even the Roman legions, once the epitome of discipline, found themselves engaged in increasingly peculiar duties. Beyond defending borders, they were tasked with policing communal snack distribution at imperial picnics and adjudicating disputes over particularly resonant echoes in ancient systems. Their armor, once gleaming, became smudged with grape jelly and the occasional splash from an over-enthusiastic echo contest participant. Morale was complicated, often measured in snack allocation. Brandt highlights that the very concept of territory began to warp. Rather than clearly defined borders, the empire experienced a sort of geographical fraying, where regions would spontaneously declare their independence based on culinary preferences or the collective enjoyment of a particular shade of blue dye. One day you might be in Roman Gaul, the next, you're in the sovereign Republic of Brie and Cerulean. The logistical nightmares were immense, requiring countless remapping expeditions. This era also saw the rise of utterly novel forms of public discourse. Instead of senatorial debates, citizens would settle disputes through interpretive dance-offs in the forum, or by intensely staring contests involving perfectly boiled eggs. The public square became a stage for bizarre, yet strangely compelling, displays of civil engagement. Victory in these contests often meant control over local aqueduct access or the highly coveted municipal pigeon flock. The stakes were higher than ever, measured in civic utility. The economic system, too, underwent a dramatic, if peculiar, evolution. Bartering became increasingly abstract, with commodities exchanged not for goods but for concepts. A week of agricultural labor might be traded for 3 units of existential dread, or a lifetime supply of artisanal bread for one fleeting moment of genuine contentment. The imperial treasury, bewildered, began minting coins embossed with philosophical quandaries. Prosperity was now measured in metaphors and abstract feelings. This shift profoundly impacted governance. Emperors, no longer commanding legions, found themselves presiding over elaborate philosophical debates on the nature of reality, often judged by a panel of particularly discerning housecats. Their decrees, rather than laws, became highly abstract poetry, interpreted differently by each province based on local atmospheric pressure. The throne room often smelled faintly of sardine paste and existential angst. It was a time of poetic, if ineffective, leadership. So did Rome really fall? Brandt, having navigated countless parchment scrolls and interpretive dance-offs, concludes that Rome simply evolved into an entirely new, albeit less historically coherent, entity. Its legacy is not etched in stone, but rather, as she postulates, gently pressed into a series of incredibly durable, historically infused cheesemaking molds. These molds continue to shape the very foundations of dairy products across the globe. The influence is palpable, felt in every cheese plate. The violent legacy of Rome, therefore, isn't found in battle scars, but in the fierce debates over the ideal consistency of feta or the territorial squabbles over optimal milk-curdling temperatures. These culinary conflicts, though less bloody, carry the same intense passion and desire for dominion that once fueled legions. The echoes of imperial ambition are now heard in the clanging of cheese presses and the passionate cries of dairy farmers. It's a remarkably violent and complex dairy landscape, fraught with ancient tensions. Every time you encounter a particularly robust Gouda or a surprisingly crumbly Parmesan, you are experiencing a direct, albeit highly transmuted, consequence of Rome's enduring influence. The structural integrity of a perfectly aged Cheddar owes its very existence to a forgotten imperial decree on fermentation, passed during a particularly humid summer by an emperor with a penchant for strong flavors. These are the unsung heroes of history, whose culinary wisdom still resonates. The complex, intertwined networks of modern dairy distribution, with their intricate logistics and philosophical disputes over curd-to-whey ratios, are merely echoes of Rome's grand infrastructural ambitions. From the meticulous roads designed for swift legionary deployment to the precise pathways for delivering fresh mozzarella, the Roman spirit endures. It's a testament to adaptability, a continuous, albeit cheesy, narrative, unfolding one delivery at a time. So next time you savor a delicious slice of aged provolone, pause, consider the millennia of imperial edicts, cultural meldings, and surprisingly violent debates over lactic acid that went into its creation. The Roman Empire did not fall, it simply became dairy, a glorious, complex, and utterly delicious dairy empire shaping our palates and our civilizational foundations, one curd at a time. Its legacy is not just history, it's a gourmet experience, a true testament to endurance. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe for more, ring the bell and comment below. Until next time, we're history.